For ArcelorMittal, Sustainable Development Outcome number 8 is about being an active and welcome member of our communities. And really what that means is how do we go beyond pure philanthropy in our communities, and how do we really engage with our stakeholders, create partnerships, leverage those partnerships to create maximum value for all parties involved. Not only are we members of the community, our plants and our facilities, and we rely on the stakeholders there for their buy-in and their support for our license to operate there, but often is the time that our employees are members of that same community. So it's a very interesting dynamic, and one it's really critical to our success. We need our employees, we need active and engaged stakeholders in those communities, and we need to be a strong corporate citizen, building partnerships and leveraging those partnerships to return value to those stakeholders. In the best communities, great stakeholder engagement is where are places where we have strong partnerships, where we can bring people in and meet with them and have open discussions about our challenges, our opportunities, how we might engage with the community, and where we can really listen and hear where the community's needs and where might those community needs fit with our strategic interests as a company. The steel industry has been through its ups and downs. In many of our communities, we used to have a much larger presence in terms of the people that we employed. And so we've realized that really what needs to be core to our stakeholder engagement, our community engagement with strategy is creating resilience in our communities. Building resilience means bringing in other economic drivers into that community, building better capacity for conservation efforts, STEM education efforts, for example. And how do we really work with our community partners so that we are not the sole providers of that engagement. Once you've built some core relationships with strong community partners, whether they be government entities, regulators, NGO conservation groups, education organizations, once you build that relationship, you can start to further advance resiliency in those communities. At ArcelorMittal, some of the partnerships that I'm most proud of are really the public-private partnerships. We don't have all the answers about how to tackle the issues relative to community need. And so many times it's great to have other parties and partners involved in those efforts. For example, in Mobile, Alabama, we have a partnership with Mobile Baykeepers. That initiative has been really important in improving and monitoring water quality standards in and around the Gulf Coast. Just one example of the public-private partnerships that we like to explore. We also have a number of other countries where there are public-private partnerships. Really interesting public-private partnerships in Vitória, Brazil, for example, where we are looking at small businesses and how can we drive economic growth through small business investments in manufacturing, and working with the government there to do that work. We have similar initiatives also in Romania, Poland, and even South Africa. ArcelorMittal has been in some of our communities for maybe upwards of 100 years. So we're not one of those kind of companies, those organizations that might come into a community, make a few bucks and leave. We're a very capital intensive business. We make a lot of big investments in our communities, and the facilities in our communities, the workforce in our communities. So therefore we have a different mindset. One that really looks at the community as a partner, a long-term partner in helping us to drive and build our business strategy. And it's those partnerships and building those relationships where we find the most thriving and resilient communities for ArcelorMittal. The future of outcome number 8, being an active and welcome member of communities, is quite compelling. It's an incredible opportunity for the company to continue our efforts. I do think that we do a great job in most of our communities, but there's always room to improve, and engagement with those community stakeholders really can only drive benefit for the organization as we move forward with our business. It is often through partnerships with community organizations where we align our interests that we can really leverage resources and create more impact in those communities than any one organization can do on its own.